Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about sphenoid bone. So let's start our topic with introduction. Sphenoid bone is an unpaired, complex cranial bone located at the base of skull, in front of temporal and occipital bones. Due to its central location, it is often referred to as keystone bone of the skull because it articulates with almost all other cranial bones. It contributes to the formation of cranial floor, orbits, and nasal cavity. Location and structure of sphenoid bone. It is found at the middle cranial fossa, forming part of skull base. It extends across the width of cranium, connecting with the frontal bone, temporal bone, parietal bone, ethmoid bone, and occipital bone. It resembles a butterfly or bear shape as you can see in the diagram at the side with a central body and two pair of wings. Parts of sphenoid bone. It has body of sphenoid, greater wings that are two lesser wings and two pterygoid processes. As you can see in lower diagram, all of its parts are visible. Now let's talk about these parts one by one. So first part of sphenoid bone is body. That is the central portion of sphenoid bone. It contains sphenoidal sinuses, which are air-filled cavities lined with mucosa. On its superior surface lies the sella turcica, that is a saddle-shaped depression that houses the pituitary gland. Next part of sphenoid bone is two greater wings. They are large wing-like extensions that project laterally from the body. They contribute to the floor of middle cranial fossa and the lateral wall of the skull and the orbit. They contain important foramina including foramen rotundum, foramen ovale, and foramen spinosum. Foramen rotundum transmit the maxillary nerve, that is branch of maxillary division of trigeminal nerve. Then there is foramen ovale that transmit the mandibular nerve, that is branch of trigeminal nerve. Then there is foramen spinosum that transmit the middle meningeal artery. Next part of sphenoid bone is its two lesser wings. They are thin triangular plates that project laterally from the upper anterior body. They form part of the floor of anterior cranial fossa and roof of the orbits. The optic canal passes through them, allowing the optic nerves and ophthalmic artery to enter the orbit. Next part of sphenoid bone is its two pterygoid processes that project downward from the junction of body and greater wings. Each process consists of medial plate and a lateral plate that are separated by pterygoid fossa. They provide attachment for pterygoid muscles which are essential for mastication. Important features of sphenoid bone. First is sella turcica. It is a depression on the superior surface of the body of sphenoid bone that houses the pituitary gland. Second feature is sphenoidal sinuses that are air cavities that reduce skull weight and resonate the voice. Third feature is optic canal that are passage for optic nerve and ophthalmic artery. Fourth feature of sphenoid bone is superior orbital fissure, that is a gap between greater and lesser wing of sphenoid bone. It transmits cranial nerve number 3, 4, 6 and ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve to the orbit. Articulations of sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone articulates with 12 bones. It articulates with cranial bones as well as articulates with facial bone. Talking about cranial bones, sphenoid bone articulates with one frontal bone, two parietal bones, two temporal bones, one occipital bone, and one ethmoid bone. Talking about facial bones, sphenoid bone articulates with two palatine bones, two zygomatic bones, and one vomer. Functions of sphenoid bone. First function is protection, as this bone forms part of cranial cavity that houses and protects the pituitary gland. Second function is support, as this bone acts as a keystone bone holding other cranial bones together. Third function is air passage regulation, as this bone contains sphenoidal sinuses that lighten the skull and help in voice resonance. Fourth function is muscle attachment, as this bone provides attachment for muscles of mastication that are pterygoid muscles. Fifth function is opening for neurovascular structures, as there are numerous foramina that allow passage of important nerves and vessels. Conclusion of this lecture video. Sphenoid bone is a centrally placed butterfly-shaped bone that plays a critical role in both structure and function of the skull. It supports the brain, houses the pituitary gland, and forms part of orbit and cranial base, and provides passage for essential nerves and vessels. Its designation as a keystone bone of the skull highlights its importance in cranial anatomy. And this was all about sphenoid bone. Hopefully you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching.